Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Mr. Blood here with the Blood Rush Wrestling channel here on YouTube. You can also follow me over on Instagram and on TikTok. I just hit 14,000 followers on TikTok. Thank you guys so much for all your support. The link for all of my socials will be in the description down below. But we're here to talk about CM Punk being the 5th member of the OG Bloodline team and the return of Paul Heyman. But moreover, I explained this already on my TikTok. So many people think that CM Punk doesn't make sense because Seth Rollins was a red herring. I'm here to tell you a few reasons as to why Punk actually does fit in this story, even to a degree. And here we go. All right, guys, let's get into it. CM Punk is the 5th member of the OG Bloodline. So many people were upset that it wasn't Hikuleo, that it wasn't going to be Zia Fatu, that it wasn't Brock Lesnar. A lot of people like myself originally expected it to be Seth Rollins. However, I had said if it wasn't Seth, then Seth would be a red herring for probably one of the two of either CM Punk or Brock Lesnar. But the reason Punk makes sense, let's go all the way back to the Shield's debut all those years ago, about 11 years ago now. Actually, yes, about 11 years ago now, really. And the thing is people seem to forget that when they originally debuted, they didn't just wreck shop and destroy everything. They were being controlled by somebody. They were being ruled by somebody. They were being paid by somebody. And if you remember correctly, one of the first stories that happened when they debuted was trying to figure out who was it that controlled the Shield. Who was it that had them by the balls and the wallet that was getting them to run roughshod over everybody? And we had a lot of people pointing the finger at CM Punk. And it became a story that it was CM Punk that was the leader of the Shield, essentially. Now, everybody knows that in Shoot, at least Shoot format, CM Punk wanted Seth Rollins, he wanted Dean Ambrose, and he wanted Chris Hero. However, Chris Hero still denies to that point that he was ever selected for the group, and Vince basically essentially said, well, I want Roman Reigns, because they wanted to build Roman as the next top guy, and they were going to use Ambrose and Seth Rollins essentially to protect Roman Reigns in the ring, essentially cover up his weaknesses, so it was basically perfect to put him in a tag team or a stable. However, people forget that CM Punk tried to deny that he was in control of the Shield the whole time, refusing to say that it was him. And even then, when we got footage of what appeared to be Paul Heyman way back then consulting with them, it turned out that in fact was CM Punk who was the mastermind behind them. And people forget that a lot because so much has happened with the Shield since then, 2 different reunions and Punk leaving and coming back, and all the history that's happened. It's all water and piss under the bridge. But people also forget the segment that happened earlier this year when CM Punk came back and he was on TV, and when Solo first took over the new Bloodline and Paul Heyman was scared and terrified every single week, he came out to address CM Punk in the ring for the first time in years. And he had a favor to ask Punk, and the favor was, will you please take me with you? He was terrified. He wanted Punk to save him from Solo and the new Bloodline. But the segment got interrupted, and they never followed up on it. Now, here's the thing. For everybody who's saying that CM Punk doesn't fit in the story, he has nothing to do with the Bloodline, that's not true. We've already decided that we've already got the proof and the segment that shows CM Punk was originally confronted by the Bloodline when Heyman begged for his help. Then we also have to go back to the fact that Punk has history with Roman Reigns. But who else has history with Roman Reigns but Seth freaking Rollins, who verbally and publicly hates CM Punk's guts as a shoot, not in kayfabe. Now, as far as it's concerned, this feeds into the overall feud of Punk and Seth Rollins. Seth, who rejected helping the old Bloodline for War Games this upcoming Saturday, said no, he refuses to help put, and I quote, that tyrant Roman Reigns back in power. The next time I am, quote, in the ring with him, it will be to stomp his head into the mat. However, everybody in these stories so far this year, since Roman has turned face, have all gotten the shit stick whenever they help or assist the Bloodline, like Cody Rhodes, for example, tagging with Roman Reigns Kevin Owens turned heel on Cody because he was hurt and angry that Cody would ever help the very people that they all helped tear down back at WrestleMania. So it comes down to, if you help the old bloodline, you're the bad guy in my eyes. Now, what's funny is that CM Punk said yes to helping the bloodline only to avenge what happened to Paul Heyman, not to help Roman, whom he has history with, but to help Heyman. Seth is going to look at that and say that Punk is a sellout. Punk is helping put this tyrant back in power. Punk is the bad guy for helping Roman, who Seth sees as the bad guy, even though we have covered in a video over on my TikTok channel, if you'd like to go view it, that Seth Rollins is actually the bad guy in his relationship with Roman Reigns, which is true. Seth is the villain in that story if you really break it down. Everything that happened between Seth and Roman, it all stemmed from something Seth had done all the way back to his initial betrayal of the Shield. Seth is the villain between him and Roman. The only difference is currently Seth is a babyface and Roman is a babyface. But so is CM Punk. But in Seth's eyes, they're both heels. So as far as it's concerned, this is going to set up Seth versus Punk. This could also set up Seth interfering in War Games to attack Punk or Roman or both, which could cost OG Bloodline the match, which, in full fairness, the OG Bloodline should lose because the new Bloodline do need that legitimacy and win under their belt. We do not need another Nexus versus John Cena issue happening that killed all of the Nexus's momentum just 2-3 months after they debut. But we do need the first shot fired. And I think that leads to Seth interjecting himself into War Games and costing them the match, or he's going to come out on Monday Night Raw and call out CM Punk, or show up on SmackDown the following week and attack either Roman or CM Punk. Now, let me know what you think in the comments down below, but for those of you who think that CM Punk does not fit into the story, he actually fits just as well as Seth Rollins would have fit because Bronson Reed was in the match. But it's perfect because Seth Rollins now has, in his mind, a hypocritical, legitimate gripe against CM Punk to start their feud heading towards Royal Rumble and WrestleMania. But CM Punk also has a legitimate gripe with the Bloodline for what they did to Paul Heyman, one of his closest friends. It just so happens that 2 members of the Shield are involved in this story, as well as the guy who was managing CM Punk way back when the Shield debuted. So, full circle moments here. Guys, let me know what you think down in the comments down below, and please click the links in the description. Go give me a follow on TikTok. Go give me a follow on Instagram, and I also have my voice acting classes, though dated they may be, heads up, over on Skillshare with a free month on me, guys. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.